Hey guys, it's Oluchi for Ways Breakfast. Thanks for always tuning in. Our research has shown that you're probably not subscribed to our channel. What are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you never miss out on our latest content and stay in the loop with all things Ways. If the channel grows, it means more great content for you guys. So hit that subscribe button now.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on Ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, as the primary regulatory authority for the telecommunications industry in Nigeria, plays a critical role in shaping the operational and financial dynamics of telcos and their services that they provide. One of its recent policy inventions is called the Directive on Unstructured Supplementary Service Data, that is USSD charges, has generated significant discourse across the financial and telecommunications sector. This derivative, which seeks to standardize or eliminate certain charges associated with the USSD services, was introduced to protect consumers from arbitrary fees and to promote financial inclusion, particularly through mobile banking and fintech services. If you don't know all these things I've just said, I also do not know it. But yes, that's why we have a guest. It's another episode on your favorite primetime show, Ways. My name is Osayiwa Mesale, and today we're discussing the implications of the NCC's derivative on USSD charges on telco revenues, right? And we have our guest with us, Bolahon Olojede. He's a financial expert, and he will join me much later. Now, remember, Ways is all about you. You are the why in Ways. So be a part of the conversation every single day. Add your voice to the discussion. Please head on to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Hit that subscribe button, like, share, and please try to always like and share our live links as well. Thank you so much. Now, when I open the phone lines, I'd really love to hear your thoughts on this topic. But first, let me allow you to ponder on my quote for the day as always. It says, these charges will be deducted directly from your mobile airtime balance in accordance with the NCC end user billing model. And this was from NCC. So bottom line is that there are going to be some deductions. I don't know what it means. I don't understand it, but yes, but that's what we're going to be talking about. We'll delve into all of this much later. But first, let me quickly run off on a break. When I come back, I'll let you in on my news interest for the day. Stay with me. All right, thanks for staying tuned. So some good news for WAEC, right? So the WASE exam, Kwara commends smooth conduct of the mathematics examination. And this, let me just quickly go there and, yes, let me find that story and quickly read it to you. It says, The Kwara State government has expressed satisfaction with the smooth and orderly conduct of the general mathematics paper in the ongoing West African Senior School Certificate examination that held across the country on Tuesday, right? The Commissioner for Education and Human Capital Development, Dr. Lawal, expressed his satisfaction during a monitoring visit to selected secondary schools in Oyon and Offa local government areas of the state. In a statement by Peter, press secretary in the ministry, that was made available, he's described the coordination and discipline witnessed during the general mathematics exam as highly commendable, especially when compared to the conduct of the English examination that was held Wednesday, 28th of May, 2025. So he was urging that the West African Examination Council that they should maintain and improve on the standards in subsequent papers. Well, I mean, that is honestly, that's the last paper for most people. Very few people have skeletal papers here and there. My son has just one more paper, I think technical drawing. That's going to be like in 2 weeks' time. I just want to quickly say that, yes, there was a lot of bashing, right? I saw a video where the House of Rep members was the Committee on Education, the chairman was telling the WAEC and the head of WAEC in Nigeria to resign. I mean that, you know, because of the incident that happened in English, you know, to resign. I don't know how to measure this, but I would say that, you know, as I said, I think I said it yesterday, and I'll just repeat it again. This is not a time to point fingers. There is a lapse, and that is why it is now showing in every other thing. If the road networks are bad, examination materials might not get to the school on time. If it leaks and there has to be an emergency reprint, which was what was the case of English, you know, there's no proper road network to get the papers in time. Not only that, we do not have proper electricity in this country. So even if schools are not able to write during the daytime, what happened to us having power to be able to power the halls for the examination? So it's a potpourri of issues, right, that needs to be addressed, not isolating it. But yeah, this is good news for WAEC. At least they had a breather. And honestly, everybody that wrote mathematics, you know, I speak to my son almost every day. So, and he said it was such a smooth exam. So I'm happy that, you know, that went well. So I'll move on to my next story. So Babcock Varsity dismisses students over fetish practices and drug peddling. This is quite interesting. When I saw it, I said, oh, okay. So apparently, so the university had dismissed the student. He's called Oladipupo Shiju Siwa Juola, sorry, over what it described as gross violation of university rules, including involvement in fetish practices, drug peddling, impersonation, and dishonesty. His disappearance became a trending topic in the early month of May after his mother took to social media alleging that the school failed in its duty of care. In an official statement released today by the university's Director of Marketing and Communication, Dr. Joshua Sulaiman, the university revealed that Siwa Juola had deliberately exited the Lishan Remo based campus, right, on April 28th without authorization, disguising himself in a hoodie and sneaking out through the university teaching hospital gate. Rather, it was a deliberate act laced with a series of misconduct that violates the university's handbook. So, long and short story, that there has been a lot of things that has been going on. He reportedly confessed to several acts of misconduct. Among them was the purchase of a black soap from a traditional herbalist for 100,000, which contradicted his mother's earlier claim that she had given it to him to treat skin condition. Like, there are just so many things. And he said the soap was meant for ritual purposes as part of a Yahoo Plus scheme. It's a long read, but he confessed to drug peddling, borrowing about 500,000 from an online loan app to fund gambling and impersonating another student to open a bank account. And I mean, he just gave a lot of recounts. I just want to quickly tell parents, you have to be conscious. You have to be careful as a parent. You are not quick to, you don't, because, this is the age where children explore. And if the foundation of that child has not been properly laid, right, these are the kind of nuances that you will find trying to experiment. So these children will try to experiment. So rather than you're so quick to come up on social media to try to, paint a particular picture, sit with your child. I mean, you as the mother, you would know your child. Sit with your child. And I'm just hoping that he's able to find help, because this is already looking like trouble for the child. I hope he's able to find help. I mean, if you feel like at this age, with all the education you're getting in university, that is not enough for you to become successful, you have to go through fetish means or do all of those things, then it means that fundamentally there's a foundational problem. Yeah. All right, so I'll move on to my final story for the evening. It says Nigeria's military to shift from foreign to local equipment. It's all right. So the Minister of Defense, Badru Abubakar, had revealed that Nigeria is steadily moving from dependence on foreign military procurement to local production. In a statement that he made today by Mati Ali, the personal assistant on media and publicity to the minister, Badru stated that this aims to facilitate local production, repair, refurbishment and supply of military hardware and ordnance. According to the minister, the shift to local production makes a significant stride towards self-reliance for enhanced national security. He also emphasized that training remains a vital pillar in achieving Nigeria's defense objective. The minister inspected several workshops and was impressed by the potential and the progress on repairs and refurbishment of the military hardware. He also noted that new combat platforms, bulletproof glasses, spare parts, and surveillance UAVs are being built at the workshop. Some of the equipment successfully constructed and repaired are made readily available for redeployment, while others are already deployed back to the theaters of operation. He further urged continuous collaboration between institutions and investment in the military RDI. Also, the minister highlighted President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to transforming Nigeria's defense capability, noting that recent signing of the Defense Industry Corporation of Nigeria bill into law. Do I want to say that this is a good thing? If the equipment come and they turn out to really be good, then it's fine. Because one of the things that I think I have heard some of the military personnel complain about is the fact that the insurgents and all the Boko Haram guys or the terrorists, they actually come with very sophisticated weapons. And most times their own kind of weaponry, they're not able to match them. So it's a fantastic thing to hear that, yes, we can produce locally. But I also want to be sure that this local production can also meet the kind of standard to match what your opponents, are coming to the war front with, just to give a balance to it. But it's good news. It's good news. I'm hoping that, because Nigerians, we're actually brilliant sets of people, right? And I know that, more fine-tuning, getting the right raw materials and everything, and we have everything in this country. So if this truly can match up with the kind of weapons that the opponents are coming with, then this is fantastic news. So I'll leave it here. When I come back from the break, yes, I'm going to be discussing this NCC, USSD. I'm confused. I know you are confused too, or maybe you're not confused. We're going to learn about it, and my guests will join me. Stay with me.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlights. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. Now, the Nigerian Communications Commission, that's NCC, has directed banks to start deducting unstructured supplementary service data, that's USSD, transaction fees directly from users' mobile airtime balances, effective 3rd of June 2025. This change means that instead of paying the USSD fees from their bank accounts, customers will now pay, I think, about 6 naira 98 kobo from every 120 seconds of the USSD usage billed by their mobile network operators. Now, I don't have an idea what this is. So joining me to shed more light is my financial expert, a friend of the house, Bola Olojede. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And yes, he's in studio.
Nice to be here.
I was so happy to see him today. How are you, sir?
A full ground, though.
See, help me explain this thing, because you see, let me understand what exactly is going on.
Okay. There has been a problem between the telcos and the banks for a number of years now about the USSD charge. The telcos are saying, look, it is our resources that the financial services sector is using to provide that service. But after providing the service, the telcos are not getting paid. Meanwhile, the customer, the ultimate user of the service, has paid. There's an amount that has been debited
to the bank
from his account to the bank. So the bank has collected, but the bank has not remitted to the telcos, who were the actual provider or the owner of that back end that provided the service. So that has been the problem for a number of years. And in fact, it got so bad, at a point in time, NCC was like, look, if these banks are not paying you, let's yank them off. And you know the implication of that for financial services. It goes beyond income thing now. It could even lead into, how many USSD services?
If I was just going to ask you that, what is the impact of, because the usage for USSD, I don't think I've ever used USSD.
For real?
Yes.
Yes, you're a sophisticated person.
No, so that's the thing. But you see, the truth is that, because I know those quick codes, a lot of, underserved communities, most of those people, they use those USSD.
Correct.
So I want you to tell me, first of all, who are the real, actual users of USSD? What is their number? How significant is this transaction?
It is significant. A lot of people use USSD. USSD allows you to do transactions even when you have no data. And that is a huge advantage, both for people who may be even in an urban area but have no data. By the time you now cut over to other places where there are even challenges with data connectivity, but with the USSD, all these people can continue to do their transaction. So it's a huge service for consumers of banking or financial services to be able to use the USSD. Of course, USSD are used for other services outside of collecting, financial services anyway. But the source of the problem was the fact that banks, the telcos were not getting paid by the banks. And it got to a head when, NCC was like, if they're not paying you, let's yank them off. But yanking them off will impact the society negatively.
How?
And because all the people that were using it will not be able to use it. It means that people will have to have data. If they want to do electronic transfer, they have to have data by fire, by force. It means more people will want to go into the branches of the bank to do transactions. It means there might be more queue on the ATMs. So there are multiple layers of impact if you withdraw that service. As a matter of fact, the year that NCC said, okay, let's yank them off, that particular year, I know that one of the telcos received about half of what the banks were owing it. Yes, because the banks don't want that
function.
The banks don't want that service to go away.
And the banks cannot be bypassed in this instance.
No,
because, okay, so where is this issue of now debiting directly from the mobile? So from my credits, my balance, my account balance, where is that coming from? Because is that not a sign that they can bypass the bank and just debit my airtime?
No.
Is that not what they're saying?
You can't bypass the banks because the account of the customer resides with the bank. So what the telcos are able to do is that they're able to access those balances that are residing on the bank's platform. So without the banks, there's no way to know how much the customer has, how much he wants, So the bank is necessary. However, where the problem has been is that, look, since you guys are collecting this money from the customer's account, you're not remitting to me, collect it from their airtime. I will have the benefit of that when you collect from their airtime. So it goes directly to the telcos. So it solves the problem of you're collecting, you're not remitting. That is where. So it's now a matter of what form does the payment take from the perspective of the customer. Initially, it was being debited to his cash that he has in the bank. Now, it will be debited to his airtime, which he has on his phone.
That's quite tricky. But so what would have been the reason the banks were not remitting? Is it look at, for instance, airlines. When we started having dollar issues, they couldn't repatriate their funds or whatever it is. What is the real cause why financial institutions were not remitting the money?
I think it is just a matter of,
breach of contract or what?
People, sometimes when people have collected money, remittance becomes an issue, and it is not, unless there is something...
This is a 419 matter, plenty everywhere.
Money we don't enter pockets, to cough it out could be a challenge sometimes. Or people would like to, there's something you call spontaneous financing. Because, okay, I'm owing you, but I'm going to pay you when I feel like I should pay you.
For something where you don't already collect money.
You don't collect from me. You don't collect them. And probably they also felt they could get away with it. And they were getting away with it because at a point in time, the total amount being owed to telcos was in excess of 250 billion naira.
Wow.
By the banking system. So it could get us. Of course, while some banks were doing fairly okay with those charges, there were other banks that were just ignoring those charges. For the banks, it constitutes a float in a way. So
that's almost like free money for them. And banks, especially when it's month end, your app will never work because they need that balance to use it to cross to the new month to say this was the
the balance I closed with
in the previous month.
All those window dressing are there, but this will solve largely the problem of collecting money and not remitting, because now you're not collecting cash, you're collecting airtime.
So is it possible that this is probably reasons why or the reason you have things like Momo Cash, and I think Airtel is trying to do something around cash as well. Is this in any way tied to it? Because again, a lot of telcos, I'm seeing that they are kind of like would I say divesting into financial services,
yeah.
right? Is this by any means linked to why we're having that the rise in telco delving into financial services?
In several other societies, even in Ghana, the Momo service in Ghana is very popular.
Wow.
If you go to Kenya, you'll see what fintechs have done in all forms of
M-Pesa and all of those.
M-Pesa and the rest of them, yeah. Now, in Nigeria, you also have the payment service banks, PSBs. The PSB are being led by telcos. So you see, I think Glo has one, maybe MTN has another, maybe Airtel has all. It's an attempt to go into that particular space because it's a fairly big space. And in other parts of the world, telcos are played very large in that space. So it may not be the primary reason why the payment is not going to be collected by that. But then it is bringing to the fore the reality that, look, we can come into these financial services. Money is money. Come in any other form, yeah.
Because they can actually bypass. If you look at it in essence, in real sense, telcos are the ones with the customers now. Because I can afford not to have a bank account, but I cannot afford not to communicate. So in terms of numbers, telcos are the ones that have the customers, right? So that was why I was asking that, is it possible for them to just wake up and say, since you don't want to give me my money, day your day, and, let's just, kind of like fine-tune the system well.
It's possible, but there are a lot of cultural changes that would need to happen. While this idea was successful in some society, it also did not work well in some others because certain societies are just used to the banking
traditional
thing,
banking,
and they did not buy into the new model. But for Nigeria, it's a wait-and-see issue. I know the PSB are probably making some good inroads, but it involves a number of players, and in the Nigerian system, the lead player is not the same as who is the lead player in some other community. So it's a trend to watch, and let's see how the Nigerian people buy into it. If it should catch on in Nigeria, Nigeria will probably become the most profitable country for those services.
For those telcos.
Because of their volumes, because of our volumes.
We have good volume. We have
good
very,
volume.
very good volume. So I was just going to say that if we truly want to play out this scenario right now, and we say that this is where we are as a nation, and now we're moving towards, those kinds of services, how will this help, to build? Because there has been a lot of conversation around financial inclusion, because that's the main core of why this USSD is important, right? I mean, you can easily just, do the codes and send to your people and they're able to access the money and all of that. If we play it well, you just mentioned one now that it's gonna boom. But what would be the indicators to show that we're on the right track and it is actually gaining ground? What would be the key indicators if you wanted to put that?
The telcos will have it. The back end of the telco, there's something called the intelligent network. It's a very sophisticated machine. I remember an incident in which many years ago, in those days when airtime was you use all these little papers with code and you have to put on your phone. And there was a case of theft. Some catch of those things were stolen in one location. And I found out that the telcos knows exactly where those things that were stolen were being loaded.
Yes.
So they'll tell you that, oh, no, it was stolen in Onitsha. It was being loaded somewhere in Agege. And they can tell you where it is. And so they have a lot of data, a lot of information that those their machines allow them to gather. And they can tell you the extent of usage of any particular service. If you go and look at a telco's financials, you will see that they have a tab on every income line because those machines allow them to do. They can tell you how many drop calls happen, how many did we make from voice, from data, from this, from that, because of the powerful
System back end
that they have. So that system can allow us to track. It's just that it's not all the telcos that are, make some of this information available, but they have it. And they can tell you how many people use this service this month, next month, the one after. And it can show you the trend. As a matter of fact, I want to believe that they are already seeing certain trend that is encouraging them in that particular direction. If they have seen the growth, they will continue to pursue that growth and hope that it will blossom into what we have seen in some other markets where these things have been successful.
Okay, just to tie to what you just said now. So what would now be the differentiating factor between the telco, this kind of financial services telco will offer, and what fintechs are already currently doing?
Or codes that are being exchanged on telephones, and it could be monetized and used to purchase whatever you want to purchase in the market. So, but because the fintechs are very smart institutions when it comes to matters of technology, I believe that there will be a very important channel that even this model that we are talking about will leverage on to reach the public. The only thing I foresee is that we can't even say the fintechs are not in the village. They're everywhere. Everywhere you go now, I just don't want to start mentioning certain names. Those names are everywhere. And even in the hinterland, they are building confidence, and people are running transactions through them. So they are waiting partners for whatever the telcos have to offer as they begin to break down barriers and penetrate into financial services, as they are already doing gradually.
So there was one more thing I wanted to ask before we will take a quick break, right? So what is the danger of, so I'm just looking at this service now, I'm saying, okay, if airtime is being deducted, right? Like the structure, how do we check that we're not having double charges, situation, because I would actually say that it's a smoother process if it is deducted from, because if I'm doing a transaction, for instance, I'm to send you 5,000 and I see that, okay, they've added 100 naira on the charge. I'm sending you 5,100 because of the charges, and you get your 5,000 naira. That is fine. But if I have done the transaction here and they're going to another place to go and deduct the money, how does it tidy up?
You will get a notification.
Okay.
You get a notification. Just like you can get your notification for your SMS. An amount of 6.
But you see this SMS where you don't talk now. GTB sent me, you see, these things, I can't monitor them. GTB sent me a, what am I calling their name? They sent me a text to refund a text charge that they charged me, SMS charge.
Oh, so they
refunded
probably,
a credit.
Yeah, they charge you unlawfully, or maybe it was a wrong computation, and then they refunded you. You should be happy.
No, I'm not happy. what?
I guess your fear is that
how many of those things they've done?
It happened in the first instance.
Yes.
They chose to refund. What if was another player in that system who may not refund? And then,
how many of those transactions? Because look at what you said. 40, how many billion did you say was the entire transaction that
about
they were owing? 250 billion. Now look at those kind of transactions. It's not small transaction. It might be 100 naira to you, but 100 naira in 200 million places.
It starts to add up.
Yes.
Yeah, and some elements of that might be there. And that is why you have seen people take banks up on certain issues of charges. If people will even say, oh, there are forensic auditor, I'm going to send my statement to forensic to take a look at the charges I've been receiving. Especially people doing big numbers. If you have a loan, you want to be sure that, and there are errors have been found. Some are also not errors. They were attempted by certain institutions to see if they could corner certain things. So until those customers raise issues and investigation is carried out, that is when they get the benefit of being refunded. So for you to even be, you did not ask and you got refunded.
Let me take a break. So I want us to deal more on how our financial institutions work in this country, because as I am like this, let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. If you just tuned in, we're discussing the implications of the NCC's derivative on USSD charges on telco revenues. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can call us on 070-2500-7749 or 070-1424-2420. So I would like to just quickly touch on banking, for instance, in Nigeria. How do we start to make financial institutions, actually help better the life and the quality of living for us as a people? Because yes, it's beyond just making services easy to get, banking your money and all of that. I mean, so many things are happening. Maybe because I'm a business person, so most times when I'm thinking, there are countries where banks, serve the people. They help the people build. They help the people grow. But here we just see declarations of profit, and profit. How are we declaring that, okay, these are the numbers of billionaires we're able to churn out this year and all of that? How do we better strengthen our financial institutions in Nigeria to make it a lot more rewarding to the users? Yeah.
It's a fairly complex space. It starts from things as basic as our records. In Nigeria, we are just building unique identities. Without unique identities, there is a problem. So even things as basic as addresses, where do people live? Do they live there? If they have moved, will I know they have moved? It's slightly different from some more sophisticated societies. I remember the first time I did a self-check-in at the airport. It was an airport in Chicago in the U.S. I was a student, and somebody had observed that I was trying to approach the car. I said, "No, you want to check in?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Do it by yourself." He just pointed me at the machine. I said, "I don't." I said, "The ID card I have is my school ID card." He said, "Yeah, that will work." I put my school ID card on that machine. He pulled up all of my information, my name, where I'm from, everything was on that card. I didn't know. Now, here, we have made certain attempts at all those kind of things. But I'm not sure that we have gotten it perfect at the level of harmonization. Otherwise, why do I need to do something for phone separately? I do another one for NIN, I do BVN when Though now, if you go to do your passport, you can see that those
The
information
BVN
are
and
being
the
harmonized.
NIN, yeah.
They are being harmonized. So we're getting there. But without those things, you're not sure that someone who has come and said, I'm Ado John Sule, is actually Ado John Sule. And when you part with money, once you part with that money, it becomes an issue. I don't know if you have received messages from certain lenders, all these
To
small
say that
lenders.
somebody's owing them. I said, was I there when people gave the person a loan? Why you people not disturbing me?
Some of the people who collected this loan will actually block the numbers of the people
Lenders,
that give the lenders. And that is probably part of why they also try to reach you, because they can't reach those people. So all those things are systemic, and if we don't deal with them, they become a problem that will halt the capacity of the banks to serve us better. The other part is that there are easy ways to make money with government. So the banks are saying, look, this individual that will lend money today, now I will not see him tomorrow again. But this government will always be there. And since this government is asking for money, let me be giving the money to government now. Government is there. So you see a lot of investment, a lot of money being pushed towards the public sector because the perceived risk with the public sector is lower than the private sector. A lot of, all these government bonds, this one, treasury bill, all those other things. People are invested in all those things and it's less risky. The other part is also some elements of, lack of willingness to understand certain industries. You see, as a lender, the thing is, you are holding people's money in trust. And you must be sure of the nature of the transaction you are putting their money into. So, in certain instances, rather than try to understand those spaces, some of the banks will just totally shy away from it. Yeah. I remember when I was in healthcare, literally 90% of the loans that we were able to get from healthcare when I was in healthcare, I had to write the credit approval memo by myself and give it to the banker. Because she doesn't understand what I was talking about. And if you don't understand it, they won't lend to it. But when you have someone who understands it and can break it down and create, and the risk that they were scared of, and can show them that this particular risk can be mitigated in this way and that way, it became possible. We were able to get facilitated. Even from a bank that said, look, we have an unwritten policy here that we don't give money to your industry. He said it pure and applied, So the willingness to study and understand an industry and know how it works is part of the work that some of our financial institutions should be ready to do, rather than just running away from it. Of course, they will run away from it because they have other easier, less risky to lend money to. There's also a place of regulator-led initiatives. For example, look at the kind of money that banks make in recent years.
Do you understand?
In 2023, in 2024.
They're declaring billions as profit. So what are they using it for?
Even in 2023, when there was blood on the streets as far as financial performance of other industries is concerned, the banks were laughing to the banks.
They were smiling to the banks.
So when there are things like that, there are certain regulator-led initiatives in which you're saying, look, we see the kind of money you're making. Can we persuade you to set aside XYZ for this purpose? It could be, for example, that government wants to drive SME lending. And it's saying, ordinarily, I know you will not lend to this sector, but let's set aside this particular and make it happen. So the government may find ways to incentivize them. Say, look, if you do this, I will consider you for this. I will do this, I will do that. But we're not seeing a lot of that going on. There was a time in the past when government tried that. That also did not succeed. I guess maybe that was part of why but it shouldn't be a basis for another government not to try. What happened then was that government said, okay, set aside this money. It will be for SMEs. But what happened for the most part was People just saw it as a way to
Free
pass
money.
money to my friend, to my sister and brother and all that. And the money went into bottomless pit and never came back.
Yeah.
But we can do it the proper way, in which we can be more accountable. And we can help some sectors or some small and medium scale or any particular area that we want to drive financing and make them be able to get financing and succeed.
Absolutely. I love the way you put it, because that's the only way to build a more economically healthy country. I was just going to ask now, with this USSD directive that they've given, right, on the charges, who is going to be laughing the most? Who is happy now?
Well, the telcos are happy.
Okay.
Because their money that was getting stuck with the banks will no longer be getting
So
stuck.
the consumer really would not notice any difference, because I've always been paying the charges
always been
anyway.
paying, just that the currency has changed. They used to debit my bank. Now they will remove it from the airtime on my phone.
But it is so it is the telcos that debit it directly, not the banks debiting it from the airtime, or what? Who is doing what? Because it's quite confusing.
Well, I'm not sure that the banks can debit directly
from the airtime.
But there must be a connectivity that allows the parties involved to take the money from the airtime.
Because I'm just looking at it, that is it not possible that NCC as a regulatory body, can't you just mandate, it's either you pay this money or we shut your services down? Because Nigerians are not so great when it comes to giving that kind of freedom. You need to be able to put certain kinds of rules and consequences to back the rules, right?
I agree with you perfectly. But it's a delicate situation. And I think this solution is better than that other solution. This solution now of deducting it from airtime is better than the other solution. I mean, they've been on this fight for some years.
Wow.
It's not be today thing.
So, but generally, right, the telco services, right, because you see, as we talk this one, I just remember, say, even they themselves, they
get their own wallet.
They be 419. Like, literally, I just bought what's it called, data, and the next thing you're sending me a message that your data is about to expire. No, that it is about to expire. They send it every morning, and I'm wondering, is it that your system is failing? Because look at it, the renewal of your 165 gig monthly plan failed. Something I have renewed a long time ago, but this message comes to my phone at 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. every morning. And I'm wondering, is it that you guys don't, So there is a glitch also in that system. How is NCC supposed to because in the end, who is protecting the consumer, right? NCC has done this now. It's going to protect the telcos, right? But who protects us? Who should we be reporting some of these issues with? If there's a double, what's it called, debit and all of that. But this thing, because it's not big money, right? I don't know how serious they will take it.
It's not. It shouldn't be a matter of size. It should be a matter of the propriety of what is going on. So if it is reported, in fact, by the time there's a single report, there could be an investigation that will reveal that it wasn't actually a single case. And what NCC will order is that for all the people that were affected, it should be refunded. So it's a different thing when someone has lost 30 naira. But where that 30 naira has been lost by 500,000 people, it starts to count. An investigation, it is when it is reported that investigation can be carried out and that will be discovered and refund can be ordered. So the agency that will still protect consumers, apart from the consumer protection agencies, there are specific agencies that are consumer protection. Is NCC. NCC is the regulator for that industry, and they have the authority to ensure that the people they are regulating are behaving well. It's just like if you have issues, you go and tell with banks, you go and tell CBN now. That's the or with a capital market operator, you go and report them to SEC. Those are the regulators, and they have the duty to protect the public. That's why they're there.
How effective are they, though?
In the first instance, I think I'm not sure if they have, for example, if I look at the bank end, I'm not sure that CBN has enough resources to pursue the volume of client complaint that might land on their table. So they probably will have a way they prioritize and deal with those matters. How many people are in the entire CBN? Compared to the volume of possible complaints, that may be coming to their desk. So they also now have to drive the banks. Say, look, you have to self-regulate, which is why you see instructions around things like, oh, if you have problem with your transfer, the bank must resolve it within 24 hours, something like that, to ensure that the bank themselves will want to live up to that, rather than waiting for people to come to CBN. How many people can CBN chase up?
But if you wanted to give like a final general overall assessment in the telco space, how well do you think they're faring in Nigeria? Because I feel like they're just eating our money.
I don't think they are getting enough complaints being channeled to them. Most of the people that are involved probably just look the other way. The other people that the thing might have pained, maybe people at the lowest rung of the ladder, they don't even know who to go to, so they don't bother to complain. In the worst case scenario, they will change the telco. Meanwhile, what they are running from this one, and the other one. So I don't even think a lot of complaints are being made. But for those ones that are being made, they will also need to prioritize and then deal with those ones that they can.
What about for pricing, in terms of pricing on how their services and their charges?
From time to time, they review that to see if there are issues of, improper behavior on the part of telcos. And if they receive specific complaints, they will also investigate to find out if that is going on. And if it is going on, they will order a refund or probably slam a fine on the
I feel like these companies, they are just so, or these industries, they are just so, their market base is too wide. So it's going to be really tough, for an NCC to really put them in check. I just feel like everything they do, anything goes.
And they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Well, I think most of the review that are done at a system level, not at individual consumer level. So at that system level, they could see whether you are obeying the rules that have been set. If you say you are doing a promo, for example, you say you do this, I'll give you this much. That thing can be audited at a system level to know whether
it truly went by. Okay, that's good. Yeah. So if we want to check the impact of this new derivative, how many months are we looking at to start to feel the impact? Like, what are you envisaging? Like, people will start to... Is it when are we looking at it? Like, because I want to know when I will start hearing complaints. When do you think?
Maybe the complaint will
when do you think the real impact will start to hit based on this new derivative? Directive.
It's going to take a few months before people even start to notice.
Okay.
I learned that a couple of banks have already sent out information to their customers to say, this is going to start happening. So let's see how that goes in 2-3 months. I believe everybody will have adopted within 2 or 3 months. And then we
does
can
this
see
also
how that
affect SMS charges? Like those your bank alert charges, does it affect it? No.
No.
Okay.
No, this is specifically for
because SMS charges, they're supposed to also remit something to telcos too now.
Yes. Yes, they're supposed to remit to telcos.
If they're not doing USSD, what's the guarantee that
they're doing SMS?
SMS charge. Or
the maybe at some point, even the SMS charges will have to go the same way.
So they just debit you directly.
Directly.
Because if I can do one, I can go get away with the other.
In fact, it might be the way to go for many things that are based on the infrastructure of the telcos.
Telcos, yeah.
Just charge it to the airtime.
So very soon we'll start to feel the impact of how this new directive is going. But thank you so much. I think I've understood the thing now. Me, I was a bit confused because me, I never use it. And I'm not going to lie, I never
use the USSD.
Nah, I've never used it.
I'm
not their
I
customer.
so love the USSD.
Are you serious?
I hardly use any other thing. Even when my banking app is right there, I can log on. I see that banking app as a long thing.
Oh.
But this USSD...
Straight. You have money. You have plenty money.
It's not a matter of plenty money. It goes very fast.
Oh, I see.
If I start logging in and all that stuff.
And logging, you might never have the network, because these days the network has just been horrible.
It's been crazy. I've been into an office today that, while all through the time I was in that office, zero network.
Wow.
Zero network.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you.
Yes.
I hope you guys learned something, because today was for learning. It's not to bash anybody, just to learn. But I think it's a good thing that sometimes we follow up on all of these things and even see what is going on. But thank you so much for being here with me this evening.
Nice to be here.
All right. So before I go, ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channels at Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the show. Now, if you missed our very interesting quote, it says, from NCC, it said, these charges will be deducted directly from your mobile airtime balance in accordance with the NCC's end user billing, that's EUB model. So this is this entire show is a sensitization show. So you understand, in case you start to see some kind of debit on your airtime, so you're not going to be fighting, because they will go and gather all these telcos, their company, customer service. Now, I'm helping telcos to do your job, because you're supposed to do a lot of sensitization, so people would know, in case you start to see those alerts, right, the debit alerts on your airtime, just know that probably is linked to a transaction that you did in the bank. All right, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
By extension, Africa battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.